Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome back to our weekly lunch and learn session. A very warm welcome to all of you today. My name is Rosnita from Excel Academy. Today we have Mr. Ridzuan, and he will be sharing about Microsoft Excel managing and analyzing data range using dynamic table. So if you have any question regarding this topic, do leave your message in the comment section and Mr. Rizwan will answer them right after his presentation. All right, let's not wait anymore. Now I pass this floor to Mr. Rizwan.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ridzuan. Okay, so welcome to the Lunch and Learn with Excel. So for this limited time, for 1 hour, I will be showing you a little bit of a demo using the Excel in order to manage your data, to analyze your data range, and then by using this Excel dynamic table, you'll be able to churn your data and do presentable reports. Okay, so before we go on, I'd like to show you an example of a system that was derived 100% by using an Excel. All right, let me just share my screen. Hold on for a second. Okay, so as you can see, this is one Excel spreadsheet that has been developed to become a system. Looking at a glance, it doesn't look like an Excel, except if you notice on the top left corner, it shows there it is an Excel file, which is containing some VBA coding and so on, so that it will run on certain part of the system automatically. So basically, this system has been developed by using the foundation to advanced level knowledge plus the VBA programming. Yeah. All right. So what I'd like to show you is a part of the analysis. All right, showing you some infographics and data for a few years. So I just quickly show you what we can do with this. So it shows you this is the 2018 data, and you can even compare the data between years. So like for instance, I'm trying to compare between the 2018 and 2019 data. There you go. And I can also drill down further, say I'd like to see the comparison between these 2 years for the first quarter of each year. So I just select from January to March. So you can see these are the values and the graph showing the pattern of the data. Yeah. Right. So if you are interested to learn on how to create this kind of system, you can enroll for the foundation to advanced level, and then later you can go for the VBA programmings. Yeah. Okay, but the main concept is before you started to have those kind of system or those kind of database, the very first thing you need to do is to have a very clean or very good database. Yeah. For this instance, we're going to create a database by using Excel. So how you're going to create a dynamic Excel table so that it will be very flexible and it will be always consistent and will be very easy for you to use in later part for you to create your kind of report and so on. Yeah. Right. So let's go on the table. So for certain people, when we say a table in Excel, what they imagine is they will have like a few cells with columns and rows with some data and so on. Okay, you can say that as a table, but in actual thing, it is only range of cells. Yeah. So in Excel, when we talk about table, there is a certain function that will allow you to control your database, to enter, to filter, to sort, to delete easily, right? Okay, here's in one example where I'm going to about to create a data, okay, by using some sample data that I already have prepared here, right? This is the sample data that I'm going to reuse as this demo, yeah. So I'm going to put the data here on starting with cell A1. Right, so there are a few methods on how to create this table. Okay, the first method I'm going to show you here is by first preparing the header of each column. So I'm going to use the header here, which is the name, age, salary, and sales. Right, so I'm going to type in this on column A to column D. Name, age, salary, and sales. Right. So in your real scenario, you could be having an existing data, which you can also use. All right. So I will show you that on the following example later. Right. So now I'm showing you on how to create from scratch. So first we start with the header. A few things that you need to remember about creating this table is first you must make sure each header that you are going to create, they are unique. Yeah, they must be unique. You must not have any duplicate name for different columns. Like for instance, you cannot have like name for column A and then name again for column B, right? If you want to have something similar, you can have a little bit like name one or name two to differentiate each column. Yeah, that is one of the important thing, right? Another thing is you must make sure that there is no blank column as a gap, right? Like for instance, maybe I have between salary and sales with a blank column like this, yeah? So you can't do that, okay? It's not allowed when you want to prepare this kind of table, right? So make sure you have no gaps, blank columns, right? Another thing is you must not have a merge cell. Like for instance, you may want to have one header and shared with another column next to it, a few columns, one or two or three columns, yeah? So it's not allowed. You must have a unique header for each column. So these are a few things, and there are a few other things that you will learn if you go into the proper trainings, right? So I do not want to waste more time on that. So what I'm going to do is when I have this header, okay, first method to create this into a table, you can find the function from Home tab. Okay, on the Home tab, look into the styles group, you can find format as table, right? Okay, you can find format as table. So make sure you click on one of the cell that already contains the header that you have prepared, all right? Then go to Home tab, click format as table. So from here, you can quickly select whichever style that is available here. Don't worry, you can just simply select any style available here and you can change it later if you don't like it. So I'm just going to quickly select one of these style, blue table style light 9. Okay, you will see there will be a pop-up, a dialog box. And at the same time, there will be like N marching marker highlighting the range. Okay, so even though you selected only one cell from that area, Excel will be automatically selecting range of adjacent cells, yeah, to identify that as the selection. So if the selection is not correct, you can always re-highlight from this area. All right, so Excel already identified the range that I wanted to have. Okay, next on this dialog box, we have an option where there's a radio button, there's a checkbox allowing you to select whether your table has a header or not. Okay, since this table already have the headers, yeah, I'm going to go on and select this, turn on checkbox. So this will tell Excel that I'm going to use the headers that I already have prepared. Once you're done, click OK. Done. So now you have your first table. All right. So what are the things that you can do with the table? Okay, first, maybe you don't like the looks of it, okay, because it's just too plain. So when you click onto the table area, anywhere onto the table area, just one cell will do, you will immediately see some contextual ribbon. All right, by the way, the terms will be introduced in the foundation level. Okay, so you can find it as a table design. Okay, for earlier versions, the name might be slightly different. Okay, but it will mention about table. So in this table design, you can click on the tab. You will find the table styles on the right side. Yeah. So these are the table styles. And you can straight away click on the available styles, or you can click on the arrows on the right corner of these table styles to see more selections. Or if you like to see all selections available, you can click on the third button. Yeah, this third button. So it will show you all the available styles. You can scroll up and down. All right. So maybe you are happy with this style, but you just simply want to have a look, yeah, on how the other styles will look like. You don't really have to click to select or to preview. You just have to hover onto each style, right? As you can see, when I hover onto the styles, you will see there's the preview. Yeah, the preview based on where my mouse was positioned. So it shows the preview of how your data will look like, or your table will look like. Yeah, right. Okay, so maybe I would like to just stick with the selection that I chose earlier on, but I would like to do a little bit of additional features. Like right now, you can see there's no horizontal borders between the columns. You don't really have to create the column. You don't really have to create the borders. So what you can do from the table design tab just now, you can just simply enable these options. So these options are available in the table style option right next to the table styles. Yeah. So like for instance, I would like to turn on the banded columns, right? So currently the banded row is already available, and the header row is already available as well. So I just click on the banded column. Now you have the vertical lines in no time. You don't really have to highlight the entire range of your table and manually insert the borders, yeah, like you usually do when you're creating a normal range, right? And if you notice at the same time, there are some triangles on each column, yeah, with triangles in a square, yeah. So this is actually the auto filter. I will come to that a bit later. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the data as what is already available in this exercise, the samples here. I'm going to enter part of this data. Right, so I would like to enter the first data, which is Abby. So what we do, we go to the first row immediately after the header, which is the second row in Excel. So you can find I'm now selecting cell A2, and I'm going to type in Abby. Right. Normally, when we finish typing in Excel, we will press enter. All right. So it depends on the setting that you have already changed, or maybe you are still using the preset. When you press enter, normally it will select the following row on the same column. So if you have changed the settings, it will either move to a different direction, or it will just stay. Like for instance, my Excel, I have changed the settings so that when I press enter, it doesn't go anywhere for a certain reason. Yeah. Okay, so I just press enter. So you can see that it stays like that. Right. I'm going to delete this off and type in again, Abby. Okay, another method, especially for those who are doing data entry, they would like to quickly move from one column to another so that they can enter the following data. Like for instance, I just finished typing Abby, and I would like to enter the age. So if you press enter, it will either stay there or move to different direction, and you will have to manually move back to the cell that you would like to enter. Like for instance, you have to go to cell B2. Right, here's the tips. By using this table, you don't really have to press enter. Immediately after you have finished typing the name, you can simply press tab. You can find on the left side of your keyboard there's tab, or it's either showing the word tab, or you can find there's a two arrow pointing in opposite directions, yeah, one to the left and one to the right. So just press that tab key. You will see it will automatically move to the following column on the same row. Yeah, so that will save your time for data entry. So I'm going to go ahead, enter the data, 35, tab, salary 2,100, tab, and the sales is 4,591. Okay, so I've reached the end of that record row. Yeah, so this is the last column for that AB record, and I would like to enter the following record, which is for Brian. Right, so normally when you press enter, so it will become either going to the different direction or we stop right there. But now I would like to quickly go to the next row, beginning of the next row, and straight away start to type the second record. What you can do is you just keep on pressing tab. So you see it will automatically move to the beginning of the new row record, and a new row has been created automatically for you without you having to manually format those cells with the borders, etc., etc. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and type in Brian, tab 28, tab 2250, tab 4948. Say like, for instance, I would like to stop entering data for now. I just press enter and done. Right? Now, I would like to see what is the current total for the two records. I would like to see what is the total salary and the total sales for Abby and Brian. Okay, normally when you create a normal range, you will have to manually insert a new row below them, and you have to manually create a formula. So this is another beauty with having this table format. So what you do, make sure you just click anywhere inside the data area. It could be on your data or even on the header. You don't really have to highlight the whole range. Just click one cell will do. All right. Make sure when you click on the cell, you are able to see the table design tab. Yeah. You are still able to see the table design tab. If you click away, which is out of the table range, you won't be able to see the tab. Yeah, it's not there. So you must click onto the table area, then only this will appear. So while the table is being selected, you can go to the table design, and again from the table style option, you can find total row. Right, here's the total row. Just simply click on the checkbox. Now you have one of the totals. Okay, by default, you can see it will show total for one of the columns that contains number. All right, and when you click, say I click on this cell D4, yeah, which is the total for sales column, right? You can see the formula there shows as subtotal 109 sales. So don't worry about the codes, okay? They are automatically being generated by Excel. So this formula represents sum or total. Say you would like to change to different kind of formula, no worries. You just click to the related total row, and you can find there's this pull down button, yeah, next to the column. So just simply click on that. You will be able to choose the formula functions that you would like to choose, yeah, like to have, right? For instance, now by default it's selecting sum. I like to just leave it like that. And I would like to have total for the salary as well. So I just go to the salary column. You'll find the put down button next to it for that column. Click on that and choose sum. Now I have the total for Abby and Brian. As for the age, maybe I like to have average. So I just click on the B4 cell. Then again, I click on the put down button for that column. I choose average. So now I have the average is 26.5. All right. Okay. You might be asking, what will happen if I like to enter the third row of record? Now that I already have the total, do I really have to update the formula? Do I really have to shift the total row and so on? Okay, with this table, you don't have to. Right. One of the method, which is the quickest method, especially if your spreadsheet is not too wide, like for instance now, the table is only consists of 4 columns, you can simply select the last record column. Okay, so this is the last record. So go to the last column and press tab. Done. So you see automatically it will add a new row below the last record, and the total row will be automatically be shifted down. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about shifting it manually. So now I like to enter Charles. Tab 31. All right, as I enter these figures, try to look into the totals below, how it will automatically update. 31, tab. Now you have the new average for the salary, 2,400, tab, and then 4,002. So I just press enter. So now everything has been updated. Yeah. Okay, what if I like to add a data in between? So like, for instance, I would like to slot in Abby's data, right? Abby's data here in between, say, Brian and Charles. Okay. So here's another method. I can simply select one cell either from Brian's row or Charles' row. So maybe like for now, I'm going to select Charles. It's not necessarily to be on the first column. You can be on even on the last column or anywhere in between the record. Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to enter a blank row in between Brian and Charles. So what you can do is you right click on the selected cell and you can find option to insert and delete. So hover your mouse to insert, then you can find these options. Right, from the insert, you can find these options. So for entering a new row, you can choose either to insert row above or below the selection. So I'm going to select above the selection because I would like to insert above Charles. Yeah, right click on it, insert, then I choose insert row above. Done. So now I have a new blank row. So I can put in, say, okay, I like to put in Abby again. That's actually the fourth data. Abby, 25, 100, 4591. Right. So it's that easy. And say if I like to remove the record, you don't have to highlight the whole range and delete. Okay. Another good thing about having this table, yeah, if you notice just now when I added the record, it doesn't give any effect on other areas which is out of your table, right? So like for instance, just now when I added row between Brian and Charles, it does not add row for this area. It does not shift the entire text which is out of the table to a new row. Yeah, so it works as an individual object even though it's in the same worksheet, right? So like for instance, I would like to delete this row, the one that I just added. Just right click one cell from the row, any cell from the row, select delete, and I choose table row. Look at this area here. Currently, the data is like this, or the text are all like this. So I'm going to select delete table row. So it deletes the data, but it does not give any effect on others that is not part of the table. So I'm going to undo the selection, the action. Right. So just now I mentioned about the boxes on top. Okay, these boxes. Okay, this is a quick function that allows you to do filtering and sorting. So like for instance, I'd like to see the total salary and sales for names for Abby. Yeah. So I have these two Abby's. So you just click the put down button for name column, and you can find below these are the list of available data. Yeah. So this is one the option where you can quickly select and deselect. So say I like to unselect all. So I just uncheck select all and I choose Abby. Then I click OK. So now I have the data sorted. It's been filtered, showing the actual value for the sales and the salary for Abby. All right. So you don't have to worry about filtering and then you have to update your formula again manually, or you have to create another row for specifically to total Abby's data. Yeah. So that normally happens when you use normal range, but when you use table format, you don't have to worry about that issue. Now, I'm going to unfilter the data. So you just simply select this button and notice there's changes, yeah, in the icon between the column that is filtered and not filtered. So when it is filtered, you can see the icon changes like this. If you have experience using the old Excel version, I'm talking about version 2003 or earlier, yeah, you will notice that when you have this kind of button, when you start to filter, it only changes the color from black to blue. Okay, that is some issue for certain people, especially when they are working on a bright sunny day. Maybe they are working on site. There will be like glary issue, so they won't be able to differentiate between the black and blue. So sometimes they didn't notice that the data has been filtered. Yeah. Okay. By the way, in the earlier version, we don't really have table format. They have something similar called data list. Yeah, but they have far less function as what we have in table design. Okay, so I'm going to unfilter quickly. So by clicking this button, so you can find clear filter from that column. Done. So it now shows the data again. All right. Okay, so at any time you like to change your table style, you can always click onto that data range and just hover onto the stars. You can quickly see how your data will look like. So even though with just this raw data, it is more presentable compared to the normal range where you have to manually do the coloring, and sometimes it's like going way out of control where you have over decorated your data. Yeah. Right. So this is one of the example. Now I'm going to the second sheet tab. Okay, which is I'm going to show you example of the normal range. All right. Okay, these are some of the data available. Looks like a table, but it is not a table. How you can differentiate between a table and a non-table or just a normal range? You just simply click anywhere in the data area and you can see there is no table design tab popped up when you are currently currently selecting any cell from that range compared to the previous table, right? I go back to the previous table. When you click onto the table, you will see the table design tab will pop up, yeah? So that's how you can quickly differentiate whether it is a table or a normal range. But no worries, you can quickly convert this range to a table. But before that, a few things that you have to remember. Okay, a few things that I mentioned earlier on. Make sure each column they have their own header, and each header they are unique. Okay, there must not be any duplicate name for different columns. Yeah, and they are not merged. Right. Okay, another few things that you must remember for each column, it is best to have one standard data type. For instance, you can see here on column A, it's already been set to general format. Yeah. Okay, and if I go to column B, they are general format. Column C, right? They are also general format. Okay, but when you click onto the data, you can see the format are actually different. All right, so if I highlight from cell A2 to the end of the record for total, they all are using date format. Okay, this is another important criteria that you have to look into before you convert or before you use your table for further use, like for the reporting, for the pivot table, for the power pivot, for the dashboard reporting and Power BI, etc., etc. Yeah. So the very important thing is you must make sure your data they are using one standard data type for each column. Yeah. So I have this data already been set. For column A, they are all using date format. For column B, right? Well, actually, I have to use this for text, but doesn't really matter, even though it's currently showing as date, because when you type text, automatically it show as text. But I'm going to go ahead and change this to text. Yeah, done. Right. And for column C, we are using accounting format. All right, for the whole data. Yeah. Okay, so if you notice here, currently we already have formatted this with some borders and shadings, yellow shading. All right, you don't have to worry. You can either remove this shading before you convert to the table format, or you can do it after. Right, so how to quickly change or how to quickly remove the borders and the shading without changing the cell formats, which is currently set to date, text, and accounting, right? So what you do, you can select whole range. Okay. Tip on how to quickly select the whole range. If you notice just now, I did not even move my mouse after I select date cell. I just select one cell and then I click on my keyboard stroke to select all. Okay, so you can press Control A. Yeah. So this will select the entire range only for the range area. Okay, if you click somewhere else in a blank cell, when you press Control A, it will select the entire worksheet instead. Yeah, so these are few tips that I normally share in the foundation level. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to select the range. Yeah, and now I'm going to quickly remove the yellow shading. Okay, you can actually remove the whole formatting by going to Home tab, and you can find on the right side there's Editing Group showing this eraser icon. Okay, I'm not going to use this, but I'm just going to show you. Here are the options where you can choose either to clear all, clear formats, or clear content. I'm not going to use this, right? Because if I clear all, it will clear the data and the formattings, including the cell format, the shading, and the border. If I select clear format, it will clear the formatting, including the the text formatting. It becomes something like that. If you notice just now, it was already formatted, now it's not formatted. So I'm going to undo this. So instead, I'm going to Home tab, and to remove the shading, you can find that option from the font group. Okay, you can see there's a paint bucket currently showing yellow color, right? So I just click the put on button next to it and I choose no fill. Done. So no more color. As for the border, you can find next to the paint bucket, there's the option for the border formatting. All right. Click the put down button next to it and I choose no border. So now it's plain cell, all right, only with data, and all data still intact with their cell formatting. Okay, by the way, you notice that on this current cell, my cell is very clean. I have no grid. Okay, this is because I already have disabled the grid lines, which you can easily change the setting from the view tab, right? On the view tab, you can choose to turn on the grid lines, yeah? By default, this is already turned on when you have a new spreadsheet, yeah? So I just simply turn this off, okay? So that I can have a very clean interface. Okay, back to the data. I'd like to convert this range to become a table. Okay, just now I showed you a method where you can go to Home tab and you can go to Format as Table. You can still use the same method. Another method you can also find from Insert tab. All right, from Insert tab, you can find Table. Right, Insert Table from the Tables group. Okay, by doing this, I just click on Table. It will not allow you to change or choose the table style in this initial step. It will automatically highlight the entire range. And notice when I scroll down, it does not select the total, even though just now I did highlight including the total, right? Because Excel already identified here, it contains some formula. Okay, but table, they will use their own total row, right? As I showed in the earlier demo just now. So don't worry, okay? You can choose to delete this later. Okay, but now, before I go ahead and convert this to table, I'm going to cancel just to show you the difference of having this total, right? So currently, I don't have the auto filter for the range. Okay, let me just undo the formatting just to show you quickly on this data. So how do traditionally we turn on the filter, right? If you are not using the table format, you can still use the auto filter by selecting the range of header or one of the header, and you can go to the data tab, right? On the data tab, you can click on filter from the sort and filter group. All right, so I'm going to quickly click the filter button. Now you have similar button available. Right, but now I'm going to show you the difference. Just now I already showed you on how the table behave with the auto filter just now. So here we have something similar. Say I would like to filter data for, say, Roger. We have a few Rogers here. So on agent, I'm going to click here and choose Roger. But before that, have a look on the total here. It shows as 98,831. So I'm going to click on the auto filter, unselect all, and I choose Roger. Click OK. Where's the total? It's gone. So this is one of the things that happens when you use normal range. It either shows the original grand total 98,000 as previously, or it will be hidden. So you don't want that to happen. So sometimes when certain people panic, they will create another total, all right? Sometimes it doesn't even show you the right total, okay? So we don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unfilter the data. Okay, one more important steps. Okay, if you are about to convert your normal range into a table format, and if you currently have your data filtered, make sure you unfilter everything, all right? So like for instance, just now I filtered one column, I can quickly unfilter from the auto filter. If you have multiple columns being filtered, you can actually clear the filter all at once. So like for instance, I select maybe Albert and Andrew, and then I choose filter for say 2017, and I want to quickly unfilter all these columns. You can just click anywhere in your data range area. This applies both for the normal range and table format. Yeah. While selecting one of the cell area, go to your data tab. Next to the filter, you can find clear. Okay, this clear function will only be active when you are currently filtering your data. Yeah. Right. So I'm just going to click the clear button and done. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to remove the borders again to prepare to convert this into the table format. Select all, go to insert tab. This is the second method I showed you, right? Okay, just double check the range. Okay, if I would like to exclude, no problem, just exclude the range, yeah? Since I have the data header, select my table has header, click OK. All right, what happened here? You can see here, this happens because you already have the auto filter button. Okay, you already have this auto filter button. This is another thing that you have to make sure before you convert to table. So I'm going to click OK, cancel. To disable the auto filter, go back to data tab and just simply click the filter button here. Right, just turn this off. Right, so I'm going to remove the border. Home, select no border, done. Now I go back to this area. Anywhere in the area, it could be your header or your data. Go to insert tab, table, double check the range. Okay, this is correct. My table has header. Click OK and done. Now if you don't like the style, you can always change to different style and do some minor changes and so on. As for the total, you don't have to worry about that previous total. You can just remove that. But before that, just to show you the difference, is the total. You get same data. Now I'm going to filter to show Albert, to exclude Albert and Andrew. Click OK. Now I have the correct total compared to the previous total, which is showing the entire data, which is not correct for this situation. Yeah. Right, so I can clear the filter. Done. Okay, so you can learn more about this in depth when you go to the foundation and intermediate level. I believe some of you already may have learned that before. For those who have not learned or have not gone through this, I encourage you to enroll for the foundation and intermediate level, right? So we have a few minutes left before I pass the floor for the Q&A. I'd like to show you a quick demo, a video, right? So I'm going to close this file. No need to save. I'm going to show you a quick demo of how a table is being used combined with Microsoft Word to create a certificate by using mail merge. So this is one idea of what you can do with the table that you create with Excel. Right, so that's the end of the demo video. Right, so I pass the floor back for the Q&A.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rizwan, for the great sharing.
Alright. Thank you so
So,
much, Mr. Ridzuan, for the great sharing.
so now kita tunggu jika ada apa-apa soalan yang masuk ya, untuk just maybe 2 minutes. Ada soalan ke? Tak ada.
Yeah, any question? Or maybe you are
Nampaknya
type voice out. Maybe
ya,
you can
mungkin
just
mereka
type in
semua
text.
get a good knowledge. So tak ada soalan for today. Alright, thank you everyone for joining our lunch and learn session today. As shown on the screen adalah is our upcoming public courses, and we also provide in-house training for these courses. For those of you who are interested to learn more, follow our social media platform for more details and contact us for registration. And if you missed today's session, you can watch it on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Okay, with that, we see you again next week, same time with a different topic. Okay, everyone, thank you and goodbye. Terima kasih, Cik Rizwan.
Sama-sama. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a nice day.